Live testing 1, 2. We'll just wait for someone to come in chat and be like, "Yo, the live stream's working." That could also be one of you guys as well. So,
are you live now?
Yeah, it should be live now. So,
sweet. All right, let me try and find it.
Everything works out. We have a special for you guys today. This is upcoming Australian pro gamer Rainbow Six Siege. We're joined by Raine, aka Digital. And I've always, so introduce yourself to the audience.
My name's Digital in game, and my name's Raine right out of game. And yeah, I'm a professional player for Chiefs in Rainbow Six Siege.
Awesome. And then we're joined by also Corey from DesignsByIFR. And I think you guys know who he is if you've been watching recently, but we'll let Corey take away with his own intro here.
What's going on, guys? Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. By the way, we're from the DesignsByIFR channel. We build custom PCs. Let's get it.
So Corey,
live stream for you as well.
Yeah. So people are joining chat. It's all good as long as the audio is out of whack. That's not good. So I tested the audio beforehand, so it should have been good. So if the audio isn't good, then something's off. So. But we listened back. It should be okay. Hopefully the audio isn't out of whack. Hopefully it's all good because we got a big stream here, which is surrounded by the recent video we did on the Nvidia Reflex, where I noticed the biggest difference was on the 60 hertz monitors. And then we got the opportunity to hook up with Raine and ask him some questions about the... is it repeating itself?
Repeating itself. Have you muted your stream?
Yeah, I'll just check, make sure I mute it. Oh, I have. That's okay. That's bizarre. Okay, so it's if it's a repeating problem, then we've got to fix that up. So,
is it just the one person that has that problem, or is it everyone?
No. So what happens is it reverbs back through the stream. So I've got to make sure that doesn't happen.
It seems perfect to me.
Okay, you're listening back, and it's fine?
Yeah, seems perfect.
Okay,
maybe. Yeah, it seems good for me as well.
Okay, people want the
He's probably
Autotune
just got 2 tabs open.
I mean, something might have happened there. I think I fixed it. I did mute the actual stream, so should be all good. So it's all good. We can, hopefully there's no more technical difficulties because we've got to get down to the juicy details here, and that is the pro gamer. See, the story that I'm always interested in with the pro gamer is not the okay. So you're the pro, right? You're making the plays now. You've got all the good gear, but I'm interested in more so the beginnings, the grassroots. You're starting out, and I guess you just started playing Rainbow Six Siege. What mouse do you have? What keyboard do you have? What monitor do you have? And what specs are in your PC? Just enlighten us.
So specs now? What specs do I have now?
No, when you started out.
Oh, when I started out. So I had a pretty bad PC when I first got into gaming. I didn't splurge on my money. I had an i5 4440 and just literally DDR3 RAM, 8 gigs, a 660 Ti, and I was playing on a 60 hertz monitor because I used to play on PlayStation. So my specs are really bad. And trying to play competitively as well. Obviously all those people that have better specs have a bit of an advantage over you. So yeah, what we're talking today, the Nvidia Reflex, something like that, can really help out those on a low end PC.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. So we were talking about the Nvidia Reflex, and that's what I noticed from the video, where Nvidia sent you over an RTX 3060 now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so big thanks to Nvidia for doing that. I mean, look, I've had some problems with Nvidia recently, and we will talk about that later on in the stream. But I wanted to bring attention to the Reflex thing when we talked about it in the video, where the 60 hertz, it made the biggest difference. Now, a lot of the viewers want to say, okay, Bryan, test it against the anti-lag, against the AMD's anti-lag solution. Also test fast sync, test a heap of other stuff. So we've got another upcoming video that will follow suit in terms of testing. But this is where I think the most important thing is, and I want to stress this on a live stream, and that is for the guys who are starting out that probably see all the pros using a 360 hertz monitor, maybe a Final Mouse Ultralight 2 or some ridiculously expensive mouse, and they got, maybe a $200 set of headphones to go with it. They don't need that gear to know if they're going to be good at the game, right?
No, yeah, 100%.
So that's what I was thinking. So for me, it's about getting the guys out, especially in my audience, getting the guys the best gear with what they've got and what they can afford. And so I think your story that you're showing to him, we're actually going to we'll quickly show some clips now of what Raine was doing. He managed to take some clips on his potato. I said to him, I said, I want some clips. And he's like, okay, what do you want? I said, I want clips on your potato. So do you have any? He's like, yeah, I got some stuff saved from a little bit back. So we'll play the quick potato clips now, and we'll show what's going on with these. So let's just tune out. Let's just do this right now. Hopefully there's audio as well.
Okay, dead.
Nice.
That's Ash dead as well.
This is on 60 hertz monitor. Showing the clip.
Go on, Red.
Look at these players. So his name's Digital Online. He plays for the Chiefs now. So the Chief is a pro team in Australia. And we can see these reflexes are pretty good. These reflexes are top notch. I mean, done on a potato. Done on a potato. 60 hertz monitor. I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, that's some pretty good play. Like right there, that was some pretty good stuff.
Killing it,
Yeah, I was actually impressed. So I was like, wow, that's the junk. Now, that's the gist of it is that when we're looking at the 60 hertz monitor, do you remember how much you paid for that?
Yeah, somewhere from I think $250, $300. It's a BenQ one.
Oh, okay. So back in the day, you got the BenQ monitor. You paid the little bit extra, okay? And
yeah, because that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, so we've established that you can be good on potato gear.
100%.
Yeah. Now, Corey is going to come in because he recently built this Rainbow Six Siege PC, and this is where the contrast comes in. Corey, did you get to play some Rainbow Six Siege on that PC, the RTX 3080 and i9?
Yeah, I actually did, but I can tell you it wasn't as good as that gameplay.
Yeah, so your KDR, how was your KDR? See, I was noticing that Raine was on top, Digital was on top. He was on top of the scoreboard. Were you on the bottom of the scoreboard in the team?
Man, I'm always on the bottom.
And so when we look at the contrast there, we've got someone with the best gear, high refresh rate monitor. How much was that Rainbow Six Siege PC? How much was it?
Wait, you're talking to me? Oh,
No,
sorry,
Corey. Because Corey always puts in the title like $10,000, $12,000, $100,000 PC. I think we'll go for a $1 million PC next year, yeah, and put some diamonds and platinum in it, and it won't even make you play better.
Sure, it was around that $5,000 mark. I'll just quickly look it up for you. I've got it here. 3,500. So.
Okay. And also, guys, if you guys have any questions as well for Digital, then be sure to drop them in the comments section, because there's some questions I've got. So he started out humble beginnings, started out on basically, budget gear, became good. But what made you, so after you started getting good, how did you get scouted, or how did you get to that transition from playing decent or playing well on low-end gear, or playing well on low-end gear, and then how did you transition into the pro gaming scene to Chiefs? And
so when I had transitioned to PC on my lower-end PC, that is at the start, I had transferred over to PC from a team on PlayStation. We all decided to get PCs, and so through competing with that team, we got pretty good. And when you're a good team, all these other pro teams, and they're looking at you, because we were under 18 team at the time. So to become to compete in pro league, you need to be over 18. So being in this under 18 team, and making sort of a name for ourselves, that's how our name sort of got out there, and we qualified for a LAN tournament in Sydney. While we were that under 18 team, And I think that was the biggest sort of biggest step in sort of getting our names out there, and yeah, that really put us on the map, I guess.
Is there a reason why you have to be over 18, whatever? Like, is there a reason for that? I mean, I
think it's something to do with like the tournament organizers. But having said that, if you're under 18, you can still, there's so many tournaments you can compete in, like grassroots levels, grassroots level tournaments you can still compete in, and you can still use that time to sort of make a name for yourself and still be scouted, and people will look out for you and wait till you turn 18.
Okay, so after you turned 18, you got, then Chiefs saw you, they liked you, they took you guys on as a team, or
yeah,
as...
that roster, because they weren't Chiefs at the time, they were a different under a different name, but that roster, yeah, picked me up.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, Chiefs are they the biggest Australian pro game?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, Australian Chiefs. Okay, it's pulled up a different business here. I'll just I'll see if we can get it.
So you started on PlayStation, did you?
Yeah, PlayStation.
How did you find the transition from PlayStation to PC? Did you notice like a big change in gameplay? Did you have to get used to that transition at all, or how was that for you?
So 100%, like obviously, like aiming with a mouse was completely different. Using a keyboard was completely different. But over time, you just get sort of used to it. And the transition was hard at first, but I was
right. So you took that game sense with you, but you just had to sort of learn the keyboard and mouse.
Oh yeah. So
from scratch.
Yeah, because I did play Rainbow Six Siege on PlayStation, and yeah, that's what I So yeah, got into the PC gaming. Continued the Rainbow Six Siege just on a mouse and keyboard this time though.
And so. Okay. Were you naturally good at the game from the beginning, or did it take a lot of learning for you? Like, would you say you were better than the average player when you first started Rainbow Six?
No, I was shocking. On PlayStation, I was yeah, like we have this ranks in Rainbow Six Siege, and I was like copper, bronze, right. And I was shocking, but I just sort of played.
That's probably where I am now, to be honest.
Just gave it time.
Sorry, the boys in the chat. I think we've started like this is they're right. We've got a new thing going on here where if you can, like, here's the challenge for the pros out there. If you can be a pro at your best on a potato, you are then a pro-tato. I like that, you know. So you play with the crappiest mouse and you play with the crappiest monitor. Even turn it down. Have you ever tried turning it down to 30 hertz just to give your opponents an advantage?
No, I'd try that. That would be fun, though.
Have a bit of fun. Have a bit of fun. Is there any sort of like, okay, so when we talk about Rainbow Six Siege, right, there's one aspect that always annoys me with pro gaming and gaming in general, and that is cheats. What does Rainbow Six Siege do to weed out the cheats, and how do you spot them, and what's the things to look out for? Because I've seen, like, when I watch back some of these clips, and I'm not going to name any names, you can see the sensitivity is way too high, but they hit these pinpoint shots consistently. And I'm like, man, whenever I used to play, like, I used to know that some of the pro CSGO players, and that was never the case, especially at tournaments. So what's some of the ways you can spot out cheats, and how does the Rainbow Six Siege community deal with that?
Definitely an element of game sense and knowing what's suspect and what's not. Like for up and coming players, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but like looking at my clips, they might think, oh, he's snapping onto their heads. That's like cheating.
I didn't see anything out of your clips. I didn't see anything that was sus. No.
No, yeah, like that's just like aim, like good aim over time. What like when you like notice cheats, like when people like wall banging you through walls and they're like tracing you through a wall and then like pre-firing. So that's how you like sort of can notice the cheats when they're looking at you through walls, and definitely like an element through game sense where like he shouldn't know I was there or he had no information that I was there, is a big thing as well. So, but what Siege does to combat that is they've got like a anti-cheat in the game, which is good. It's gotten better, I feel, over time, and a combination of that, they've also got, you can upload clips to their support stuff on their website, and they can manually ban people as well. But in terms of pro play as well, you have to like run a program before you go play your official matches, and that's another element of another anti-cheat software. So they've got like all these like different ways to combat it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just funny. There's such a different contrast now with the world of pro game. Believe it or not, I used to play StarCraft Brood War. I went to the WCG, the World Cyber Games. Is that still a thing now, this World Cyber Games? Is it still?
I personally haven't heard of it. World Cyber Games, WG, no.
Okay, WCG. So that was the big thing back when StarCraft was a thing. Now I was only 14, 15 years old at the time, and that's when there was no money in pro gaming. So at one stage, I was #1 in Brood Wars in StarCraft Brood War in Australia. Yeah, so like, but there was no money. No, you went to Samsung. Hey, can I get sponsored? Maybe even $100 a month. They just laughed at you. There was just no money in it. And so like there was a couple of other guys in Australia that went on to Korea to try and pursue a career. Now the funny thing is about the Koreans where they were just on another level when it came to StarCraft. You could not, the sort of like the pre-pro. The guy who was transitioning to pro would just wipe the floor with any Aussie in StarCraft. So it was a completely different field. But when it comes to pro gaming with Rainbow Six Siege, do the Koreans dominate, or what's the go there?
So like Asian teams or Asian players tend to dominate more in what's the name of it? Like Dota 2, League of Legends, those type of games.
Yeah,
I think it's called MMO. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, MMO,
but,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Whatever. MMORPG, or what? So yeah. Well, no.
They dominate those sort of games. And then the FPS sort of games is tend to be dominated by more like Europe and NA, and Latin America regions. And that's like a lot to do with that. It's just sort of population and like in who's playing what, because these Asian like players are more playing these like MOBA games. Yep, thank you, Konyo. That's the one, MOBA. They're playing those. Since they're playing more of those MOBA games, then naturally they're just going to be better at it because they've got more players playing it. So, yeah.
Well, one thing I noticed as well is I never laughed so hard. I remember the Aussie pro team for Overwatch. They went up against the Korean pro team for Overwatch. They literally couldn't even kill one of their players. I'd never seen something so funny. It was just like they came in and they just wiped the team. Like it was just a wipe. And I remember I saw that clip and I was like, wow. Like, so the funny thing is though, one thing I've been thinking, so at the moment, right, we've gone through, okay, so you can get good on the gear, but one thing I want to touch on as well is the thing for pro gamers or aspiring pro gamers, I think the diet is super important. One thing I've noticed about Korea, right, believe it or not, South Korea, when I went there, the diet was so healthy, right? These guys were eating steamed vegetables like every day, Yakult in between. The diet there was so good. And I'm like, well, no wonder. You have a good diet, you're going to play games really well. And I'd say that the brain in pro gaming, you got to feed your brain really well. And then you can make good moves. So I noticed the Korean diet was one of the best in the world. And so at the moment, what's your diet? Like, let's just go through your diet in an average day.
So my diet, what do I eat? So my mum used to be a chef, so I'm fortunate enough to get some good home cooked meals during dinner, and that can be ranging from a lot of things. I can't really pin it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, lunch as well. Like my favorite lunch is just having like a ham salad sandwich, or I don't know. I can't really think of what I would have, but no, definitely healthy food, and not junk food all the time. Yeah. I like, even for myself when we started the season, I'd like tap back into like eating a bit junky food, like in that junk food, and then I just noticed I was like playing bad. And as soon as I like got back into my gym routine and started eating actually healthy, I noticed I was playing better. And I'm not sure if that's placebo or me.
It's not placebo, man. You got a whole nation of Koreans that I think will prove that. And so I think it's important because I've been to some of these tournaments in Australia, and I'm like, well, sometimes I scratch my head. I'm like, well, no wonder the Aussies aren't winning the pro gaming tournaments worldwide. These kids have got Red Bulls, McDonald's on the table, screaming, shouting, no discipline. How are you going to get good if that's your base? You know what I mean? So it's a motto of crap in, crap out. But if you start fueling yourself, it's like running a car. You run a car on 98, If it's a high octane, or needs high octane, the engine is going to run nice. You start putting crap fuel on it and water down the fuel, you're going to have problems. So
Absolutely.
So that's what I've been trying to write home about all this stuff that's important just outside of having the natural skill there. You've got to also have all the augmented things running right. And if you don't, then you can pretty much kiss your pro gaming career goodbye, or your prospects. So it's good to hear that you have I didn't even know before the stream, I didn't have any of these questions planned. I didn't even know, but I wanted to sort of bring them up on the spot. But it's good to hear that your diet is good, you're exercising, all these things that, I guess, if there's guys out there that want to be a pro, they can sort of watch this stream and watch this interview and say, okay, I should be eating healthy. I should be doing my exercise, do my due diligence in order to become a pro. And so, same with Corey. I mean, look, me and Corey, when we were building the custom PC, we did cheat a little bit. We were getting menu log and eating a lot of junk food.
It's got some veggies on it, right?
Yeah. Actually, we did. Hey, look, for half the time in there, we did get. One time we got Chinese vegetables, and then we got the Thai as well, pad Thai and stuff like that. Really healthy stuff. But yeah, so overall though, you want to be eating healthy, you want to be exercising, you also want to be. Then that'll enable you to play well. Now, in terms of finding your teammates, is there any sort of in Rainbow Six Siege, right? Because it's a game, it's a 5 versus 5, is it?
Yep.
So is there any sort of different roles you guys have, and what's the roles, and do they match your personalities and whatnot? Because I know in Dota, for instance, you got the carry. Now, a lot of the time the carry, his personality is sort of, he's the one who's flashy, he's the standout. He's like the frontman for the rock band. And then you've got the support who'll be the quiet one, actually in real life too. I've found the personalities actually match the roles. So what's the roles in Rainbow Six, and which role do you identify with there?
So I think in Rainbow Six Siege, it's definitely similar. So you've got your support roles. But however, in Siege, the support roles tend to correlate more with the people that are more talkative, because they're the ones using their drones, they're the ones sort of directing their teammates and helping them in that sort of aspect. So they're more talkative. And then our flashy players can maybe be more on the silent side of things, so more quiet. But yeah, our flashy that we call them entry fraggers. They're the ones sort of going in first and sort of being droned in and sort of entering the building first, essentially, getting the kills. And then you've got other roles like flex, where you do a bunch of things. It's hard to pinpoint it, so we just call it flex, for sure, flexible. And then, so it's pretty much entry, fragger, and then you've got support and flex. They're the main three.
And do you play multiple roles, or do you mainly play, say, entry, frag, or what's your main?
More of a support, flex. I play.
Okay.
Yeah, my team.
Okay, and who would be the entry on your team?
So on the screen now, God Legion and Vast are our entry fraggers.
Okay, and do you ever rotate? Do you ever rotate these roles?
Yeah, no, Worthy was our support sort of flex, but he's, I think, entered more into a just flex role now. He's still on a supportive role, but again, sort of rotations during different maps. We'll rotate that role, I guess, to what fits best. And then I'm flex and support on some maps, and so Fisho's just support on most.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, anyway, that's about in terms of the pro stuff, guys. We'll be sort of closing off this interview pretty soon. So if you've got any questions for Raine, be sure to drop them in the comment section below. But basically, before we move on, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, or where do you want to see yourself?
I'm currently at university, balancing that and sort of pro gaming. So something to do with my degree in marketing and advertising, and maybe even link that with anything to do with esports would be pretty cool.
Okay.
So in 5 years' time, something to do with that. We'll keep it pretty broad.
Well, you got a good attitude, my man. You got a good attitude, right attitude for the job, and I'm glad you've sort of you're in this scene and you're making a good name for yourself. You're also, in ways, it's really good to have someone on who's humble and just sort of guiding the guys who, say, for instance, the young guys who want to give it a crack. and I want to get into it. I do have one more question though. What mouse style do you use? Is it a palm grip, or is it a claw grip, or a fingertip grip, or?
Definitely a bit of a hybrid. I like to keep the back of my palm on the mouse because I'm more of a wrist / arm aimer, and then my fingertips, I sort of claw at my mouse. So a bit of a hybrid, I like to say.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like is the claw grip. And Corey, what about you, mate? What do you do for a mouse grip there?
Man, I'll just put my hand on there. Whatever happens.
You just you get a good, you like to get a good grip on things. Let's do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I've got one question for you as well, which I think a lot of people might be interested in. How often do you guys practice, and like how many hours a week do you think you put into Rainbow Six?
So off season now, we just, as you guys know, we just came off the back of bouncing 2 leagues, so we're in sort of a holiday break, I guess you could sort of say, for 2 weeks. We've got 2 weeks off now, but if it's sort of the pre-season, so anywhere from like 5 days a week, 3 hours a night, so like maybe more than 3 hours because you got before and after we talk about a bit, but if it's like during the season, it can be 6 days a week, and 5 hours during those days, 5-6 hours during those days. But it's flexible. So if we're busy on a day and we've got something on, team's understandable. So it's definitely a flexible system.
So you guys have dedicated time for actual gameplay. Do you have dedicated time for like reviewing past past games or anything like that?
Yeah, they're called VOD reviewing. So we'll like review VODs on ourselves and other teams as well, if it's during the season. So it's not just like gaming, like practicing in we call them scrims. So it's not just scrims. It's VOD reviewing and dry running. So hopping into a custom game, which is like a sandbox mode of Siege, and just like coming up with strategy there and.
Okay, so I think it sounds like in ways it's similar. Like I think a lot of people, they look at the end result and they're like, oh, that's so easy. Like they'll look at my YouTube channel, for example, and same with Corey's, and they'll be like, oh, just he gets sent this stuff in, and then he gets it's a 10-minute video. It's like they don't understand that there's days that go in. Just that 10-minute video, there's days go into it in order to make the video, whether it's the B-roll, the testing, and all the other stuff. And I know Corey, for instance, he spends about a week on his builds. Like that's on the average turnover would be a week, just day in, day out, making these custom PCs. And yeah, sure, you see the 15-minute end result, but all the work and the hard work that goes behind that, you kind of don't see that. So it sounds like it's similar with the Rainbow Six Siege thing you've got going on, right? You've got to do all this other stuff. And then sure, the tournaments is going to be where all the flash plays happen, but there's a lot of other things that contribute to being that skill level in order to do that. So
for sure.
Okay, cool, man. Well, that sounds about it. People want to know now the specs of your PC now, right at this very moment. Chat was like, look, what's his current specs?
My current specs.
Yeah.
So I've got a AMD Ryzen 2700 7. I think I'm missing something now.
2700X.
Yeah, 2700X. Yeah.
Yep.
16 gig DDR4 RAM, and then I've just got that 3060, which I'm going to put in. And then just a terabyte SSD. Is there anything I'm leaving out? I don't think so.
And I think there was one thing you wanted to talk about was the Reflex. I think Corey was as well. Yeah. You guys are telling me, look, we got to get on this live stream and talk about Reflex. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, these guys, like, I think I said to them, like, look, for me, the biggest difference with Reflex was the potato side of things, which is what I liked. I liked that aspect. So sure, let's talk about Reflex, but I think the best thing for it is that it's actually helping out people who are on a budget rather than helping out the flashy pro and giving them more of a pay-to-win advantage. But what's your experience? So have you tried Reflex on
yes.
Rainbow Six Siege, and what's your experience with it?
So I tried it out this morning and a couple of days ago, and just in the short time that I've been using it, definitely like things are just snappier. I think that's the best way to describe it. The response time is quicker, and just in general, just feels snappy. And the fact that it's a setting. It's not something I went out into the shops and paid for. It's just a setting. I just turned it on and instantly my game just felt better overall.
Okay, cool. And what about you, Corey? Felt no difference? Didn't notice anything?
Look, I'm not really, I'm a pro player, so.
We could, I reckon, what I'm going to do next time.
I'm going to be missing his head, all right? It's going to be either a body shot or it's in the wall behind him.
Wait. So what you're trying to say is, look, Reflex could actually be making you play bad because you see the guy earlier, you're clicking the button, but you're used to missing. So you're actually, you know what I mean? You're missing him instead of and hitting him with a delay. You could have been hitting him with a delay, but instead you're missing him now.
Nvidia can make all of these technologies to try and help me get better, but it's just not happening. Maybe I need 3 hours a night practice, then we might be able to get there.
So what we'll do is, I just thought of another video idea. What we're going to do is I'll do that other testing that people wanted, all the different other testing that we missed out in the budget and also the Reflex videos. So we did a budget video as well where I tested some budget monitors. I'm also going to do another video, I figured, where I'm going to turn Reflex on and off placebo. And we will test it with a pro, and then we'll test it with Corey. But that's when I meet up with these guys at an event in Yonder. So I can't guarantee when that video will be coming, but I mean, hopefully with this, whatever, the Rona going around, hopefully when that's finished, we can all get back to normal. But, or at least have an event where we can meet up and do something again. And I'd like to put that to the test, and then we'll just put Reflex on and off. And which one did you notice a difference, guys? It'll be a tricky it will be a tricky test too. I'm gonna put it on you guys, eh? I'll do like 5 tests, and 2 of them will be exactly the same, and then 3 will be different. So yeah,
I reckon I'll get it. I reckon you'll notice a difference.
I don't think I'll get it.
Yeah. So here we go. Last question as well is, did you buy Siege on Steam or?
Yeah, I bought mine on Steam. Just so it's with my other games. But I think actually one thing I will say, I think I recommend buying on Steam. I think the downloads, it's a smaller file. So if you're looking to sort of optimize your space on your hard drive, go for a Steam download for sure.
Okay, cool. And have you activated your Windows 10?
Yes.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, if you haven't, we've got today's, sponsor here, $14.30.
I haven't activated it.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll put links in description, mate. You got the coupon code there, BFTYC. Get a 30% discount. And also, you guys, your mics aren't sounding that great as well. So if you need to get a good mic, Elgato Wave 3, okay, fellas? That's
so easy.
Yeah. What mic are you using there, Corey?
Yeah.
What mic are you using there, Corey?
Some Rode mic, no good. I'll have to get one of those.
Yeah, Rode, one of the best in the industry, but the thing doesn't sound that good. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining in. Thanks very much. And I'll be going back to the chat. We'll be talking about some big news with other things tech related. I mean, if you guys want, you can stay around. I mean, we can just chat and hang out. That's if you got time, or if you guys have to go, that's fine. But I'm going to be talking about Nvidia and a bit of leading off yesterday's video. People, it'll be leading off. So do you guys want to stay, or what's the go?
Happy to. More than happy to.
Yeah, chill.
Okay. So basically the gist is we've got this Nvidia. Now, I spoke to Nvidia behind the scenes, and I was like, look, guys, you guys made me look like a total idiot. And that was because they released the mining limiter on their GPUs. And it was working. Like, for what it's worth, they had this mining limiter and people weren't buying the RTX 3060s like they were the other graphics cards. It was proof of concept and it was working as far as I was concerned. But then they went and accidentally released the driver that would have unlocked the mining limits. And sure enough, people went out and bought all the 3060s up. So, but now Nvidia are saying, okay, guys, we made a mistake. We know the gamers, majority of gamers who want to get their hands on a card just to play games. I mean, who would have thought you want to buy a gaming graphics card just to play games on it? We can now put in a new hash rate limiter. And basically what they're saying is there's going to be a whole new series of LHR versions of these graphics cards coming out that are going to have these mining limiters in place. And this time they're not going to mess around and they're not going to unlock the mining limiters. So this I mean, look, I'm sitting on the fence here. I'm not like, look, after last time's episode where I was like, hey, Nvidia, I believe in this, And the viewers told me I was a total idiot. They were proven right. Now I'm trying to change my ways. This looks good, but again, I've got to see it to believe it, because this will add in. So yesterday I made a video. We're talking about crypto prices and how I thought the profitability was going down. I thought eventually we're coming to a crunch with cryptocurrency. And you can see here, this is basically what's happening now. The price of this stuff is starting to flat line out. And so profitabilities go down. You've got ASIC miners coming in. There's a lot of things coming in that point towards basically somewhat possibly better GPU availability, at least in the sense of what it is compared to now, which is I think it's hit the worst right now. Where you go on eBay and people are even in Australia, $2,500 for an RTX 3080. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So I think this is a good thing, right? I think the level that we're seeing here, right, the ridiculous nature of the price hikes is just, it's based on pure greed, right? People buying these cards for mining, they're doing it for pure profitability. And it's one thing I don't think Nvidia would have ever intended for this to happen. Sure, I think they would have intended for some mining sales to happen, crypto to keep going on, but I don't think anyone anticipated for crypto to be at the level that it's at now. This massive, you've got, did you know for a fact, I think it was Ethereum sold back in 2014 for 30 cents a piece. Did you know that?
30 cents?
Yes, 30 cents a piece. That's how much they were selling the coins for in those values. I think that was 30 cents for one Ethereum. Now it's $3,500.
Yeah.
So you can see, I mean, sure, one could say, okay, Ethereum was just grossly undervalued when it was first launched. Yes, I would agree. But is it grossly overvalued now? And I do think yes. I think crypto's,
I'd say yes.
I think crypto's in a massive, massive bubble. And the reason, my theory is behind one particular, well, actually two. I mean, but one's just playing a joke. I think the reason behind this is a one called Theta TV. This one's in the top 20, I believe, in cryptocurrencies. But you go to the website theta.tv, and it's like there's 500 live viewers on there. You're telling me that ecosystem is worth 10 billion or something? You know, this is ridiculous. The valuations here are extremely overvalued. I mean, for instance, Justin.tv back in the day, if you guys remember when that was now Twitch, I think that's now Twitch TV.
Right? Yeah.
That was, I think they sold that for $500,000. That was back in 2008 or something like that. This was valued at $500,000, and I would say that had more viewers than Theta had back in those days. I'd say it had actually a much healthier much healthier base. So you're looking at this, and you're like, $11 billion for 500. Like this right here is everything's pointing to a bubble. Even if we have 10%, 20% year-on-year inflation, this is going to be overvalued for decades. So it either has to have two things, right? The price either has to come down, or you have to have the Theta TV itself grow at exponential rates. And now I haven't seen the exponential growth there because I don't think the product is anywhere near as good as Twitch, for example. So you're now at a crux where, okay, I just think this is overvalued based on the current research that I've done. So when you look at one cryptocurrency like this, and you know that it's grossly overvalued, when you go to other cryptocurrencies, how overvalued are they? Well, and that just basically comes down to what metrics you're going to apply. But at least when I judge on fair value, I would say this thing shouldn't even be anywhere near even $1 billion. So there's 1,000% overvalued. So you're looking at cryptos, is that 1,000% a general indication of how all cryptos are overvalued? Well, possibly. So there's a big thing out there at the moment. And so I've been telling people, just be careful. If you're into crypto and you've made some money, definitely take your profits. And I've been saying this in previous live streams. Get some real assets, because at the end of the day, real assets hold their value. And things like, a Theta TV coin, if this all crashes down, you're going to be left with a Theta TV coin, but it's going to be maybe 50 cents. So just saying, just putting that out there. But anyway, I don't know how we went from a GPU hash rate limited. I guess it's all tied in, right? So that's why I've said, okay, guys, if you're buying these cards, if you're buying an RTX 3080 for $2,500 and you're doing it for profitability, just be very careful going forward. Do your research, especially do your own research. And that's one thing I always tell the viewers here at Tech Yes City, is just to do your own research. make an informed decision. There's a big culture right now, especially when you look at Dogecoin. There's a big culture out there to just go gung ho and go YOLO and go, put all your money down on Dogecoin. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, but where's that money coming from? At the end of the day, if it is YOLO money going in to prop the price up, then it's probably YOLO money that's coming from the taxpayer anyway, when we really look at the source of that. So, I mean, there's lots of different things with crypto, but just be very careful, my advice is. And I think once sort of things like this come into place where we can circumvent mining with a hash rate limit, and I think it's a good thing. Now, one thing is I've noticed as well, I've noticed a little trend where I think in the next few months, in the next 6 months, I think the roles will change. I think AMD, believe it or not, will open themselves up to more crypto optimized drivers, and Nvidia will do the opposite because they want to, I guess, maintain their gaming audience as opposed to AMD. Like we're seeing a lot of 6700 XTs, for instance, in Australia are still in stock. They have to move these things, right? So if you want to move these cards, you open them up to miners. That seems to be a formula that's working. So I predict in the next 6 months, we'll actually see AMD be a lot more miner friendly because they've got to move these in-stock cards. And then Nvidia will put the hash rate limiters on and try to get them into the hands of gamers. So anyway, there's predictions out the way. What are you guys seeing? Like, have you tried to buy a graphics card lately, or what's the go? What's
that's impossible, man. Yeah. That is impossible.
Yeah, I've just heard the same, really, that it's really hard to. I haven't tried myself, but I just heard from other mates and friends that, yeah, it's really hard to.
Yeah. So that's the gist out there. It's basically and so one thing I've been talking about is I've been going into the economics of everything right now, and it does look, man, we're going into it. I reckon the next 10 years we're going into a period that none of us have seen. None of us know what the go is. None of us have seen. So I've been doing a lot of research trying to figure out which way the ship's going to steer, or is it just going to capsize, or is it going to go in reverse? So no one seems to have those answers, but you can look at trends. And when you look at trends, you can see where that ship will be hauling in the long term. So everything points towards what's known as, believe it or not, a lot of things are pointing towards an inflationary depression, which is actually a scary thing. So just be careful out there, guys. Make sure you stay focused. And but anyway, we've got to get back to good news because I want to make sure the viewers are cheered up. Like, hey guys, can't wait for this. Can't wait for this inflationary depression. It's gonna be so good. I'll be able to get some deals at higher prices. But one guy was telling me, look, Bryan, you got to go out to the bushland and start learning how to hunt, start learning how to grow your own veggies and all this stuff. And I'm like, that sounds like a good idea, become self-sufficient and go off the grid. And I was thinking to myself, that might be good for a YouTube series. There's guys out there that are doing that. They're going out there and they're going off the grid completely. And then they're making videos on it. I saw one recommended to me the other day and I was like, hey, that seems like a good idea, just connect with nature, turn the mainstream media off. Like I can't stand them. I can't stand mainstream media anymore. I've about had it to here with mainstream media. And that's the problem. So this is the thing, right? Lately I've been going on this tangent of trying to tell everyone, question everything and teach yourself how to think rather than what to think. And I think nowadays, more than ever, we're just getting taught what to think. That's it. They're just getting pummeled all this stuff. This is how you should think. And it's like, what, really? I thought I was an individual. So anyway, guys, that's the hash rate limiting news. I've explained the crypto bubble, and I've explained the graphics card situation quite a little bit more in depth on yesterday's video.
That was a good video.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was a different take. It was good because I always love discussion, but I do think, you always look at momentum. One thing you should look at as well is momentum, right? So, for instance, last year PC sales were extremely good. This year PC sales have slowed down. So you can see momentum there. Basically, going forward is that things are slowing down in general. At least what I do. So mean, what have you noticed? If you look at momentum of things, have you noticed, say, for instance, in pro gaming, is there less tournaments? Is there less prize money with Raine? Is that something that's happening, or what's?
It's like the opposite. Like I feel like the momentum it's going up. So
Yep.
there is momentum there, I guess.
Yep.
Especially within ANZ compared to like a couple of years ago. So there's momentum there, I guess.
Yeah, esports is huge. I mean, esports is only ever growing. I mean, that's why I pulled up at the start of the stream. Over 70 million players on Rainbow Six Siege now. So that was a really good thing. What about you, Corey? What about you with the custom builds? I mean, I love them, man. I love when you do these special mods. I am waiting for the MSI. What is it? The collab with Menulog. So hopefully that can happen.
Menulog, yeah.
Yeah. So Corey, if you guys don't know, Corey posted a thing up on Twitter where he said he was like, "Oh, what do you want me to do, guys, with this custom MSI build?" And I was like, "Well, make a Menulog PC. You know, Red, it gets there faster. You know, the Menulog's going to get there faster. It's going to, Red goes faster naturally." So I was like, "Well, it just seems like a natural thing." And then Menulog replied themselves, and they were like, "Yeah, let's make this happen." Well, Corey, you got to make it. You got to make it happen now. So, is there any progress on that?
Well, actually, I'm thinking that you and I should get something happening. Maybe I come up to the Gold Coast or whatever.
Absolutely.
Menulog on board, and we'll make something happen.
Would love to see that. Would love to see that. So, yeah, but anyway, guys, that's about mainly the main news. I saw the main news was the Nvidia hash rate limiters are coming out. So there's going to be various models. There has been rumors of the 3080 Ti as well as the 3070 Ti coming out. I think there is truth behind the 3080 Ti. Seems about right in terms of the time frame and the schedule of releasing this. And you got to remember with the 3080 Ti, people are like, "Oh, why are they releasing a 3080 Ti when you can't even build or you can't even buy an RTX 3080?" The reason being is because this stuff would have been taped out even before the RTX 3080 was launched. They would know that, like, Nvidia have a schedule of release. And so if there is a 3080 Ti, which I highly think there is just by looking at all the stuff out there, it's already been taped out from last year. So that's what I think. So there is a 3080 Ti. The 3070 Ti, that one remains up in the air. I'd like to see if that one's got a bit of truth to it. But if that does come, it'll come after the 3080 Ti, I think. So that's some good news, though. I mean, more GPUs, the better. The more silicon they can get out. But yeah, hopefully we will see this mining hash rate limiter bring in some GPUs for people to buy. Even if it's somewhere in between MSRP and now, I think a lot of people will be like, all right, say for instance in Australia, if it goes down from $2,000 to $1,500, MSRP was like $1,150. People will be happy to pay that for a 38. They're like, okay, cool. I've seen the worst it can get to. I'd be happy to pay a little bit more. And you're still coming under that of a 2080 Ti, and you're still accounting for the what are they calling it? Transitory inflation. That's sorry, I have to laugh at that. Guys, we're just gonna have a quick bump of inflation. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about here, fellas. Prices of everything's just gonna go up. Don't have to worry though. Don't have to worry. And it's like, well, why don't you have to worry? Is the government going to guarantee the difference lost to inflation if my savings get eroded away? Nope. And that's the biggest thing, right? A lot of people out there. I mean, it's just funny because I started talking about a bit of this stuff and people are calling me behind the scenes. And they're asking, "Bryan, well, what do I do, man? What do I do?" One guy called me, had 300 grand. And I was like, "Dude, that's a lot of money. You saved up a lot of money." It's like, "What do I do with it?" And I said to him, "Well, this is what I'm doing. I'm buying some platinum. I'm buying this. I'm buying, And so they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I think a lot of people don't want to be caught out by basically it's a net positive thing going forward too. With inflation and whether how hard it applies to graphics cards, right? We've seen an inflation figure on graphics cards of 200% plus. It's huge inflation. I mean, that's not reflected in the broad economy just yet. But I think when you've got transitory inflation like they're saying is going to happen, you want to protect yourself because it was in your best interest to protect yourself based on the net value of cash. Basically, if you buy real assets at a set value right now, and say, for instance, it is transitory, the things go away, the value of the dollar gets stronger for whatever reason, then you've still preserved your wealth. If your price of your assets drops, then you can still sell that, and that value of that dollar will still buy what it could buy 6 months ago. However, on the flip side, if you hold on to that cash and inflation comes, that value, the government isn't going to guarantee that. That value of your asset, that's never coming back. You've lost that forever. And that's what I think people need to switch on to and realize if you're sitting on cash right now, you might be the biggest loser in history. So that's what I've been warning people behind the scenes. I'll warn them on live stream. I've got nothing to hide. I think if you've worked hard, especially for your money over the last X amount of years, I know for me personally, I'm like I said in the past, I'm more of a type of guy who saves money. It's a big thing you've had to research. And I mean, that's why the content in ways on my channel has been over the last few months has been less, because I've been educating myself quite a lot outside of my, I would call it my basically practically useless university education. Seriously, man, I went to university and all they taught me was one set of thinking. And I'm looking around and that set of thinking isn't applying to anything that I'm looking at right now. And there's, you start to sort of take a seat back and look at things logically, and you're like, well, how do I apply this type of thinking that I learnt? It's not making any sense. So then I've started doing a heap of research, came across various different economists and different people and their opinions on things, and I was like, now that's starting to make sense. And so yeah, I've been lately I've been sort of getting into the groove of things, and I think it's important to so freak in the comments says 300 grand, buy something disappearing quickly like land on the Gold Coast. Dude. The sad thing about the Gold Coast. So I live on the Gold Coast, guys. If you don't know, it's a place in Queensland, Australia, and the Gold Coast. I think it was the #1 most searched place worldwide. In 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it's been absolutely insane here. The prices of property has grown like 50%, I think, in a year. So I mean, and you can't blame these people, right? They've got the governments telling them that inflation is doesn't exist, yet they want to protect their assets because they know when interest rates are like 0% and anyone, and this is the worst thing about it is the borrowing standards, I think, in Australia have gotten even lower. So they'll basically, you go to a bank, and I heard, I was at the store the other day. I was at my friend's computer store, and there was this chick that came along, and she was just like literally bloating about how she got a $500,000 mortgage, and she only had, before that she was unemployed and only had 3 pay slips. And I'm just scratching my head. I'm like, what? Yeah. So I mean, when you look at that, why is that happening? I thought you had to be.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, 3 pay slips. Like, what? It sounds like the pre-GFC conditions all over again, except it's happening in Australia, because I know the banks weren't as reckless as they were in the US pre-2008. But now it's just like, okay, come in. What's your credentials? Oh, you've got a MacBook Pro. Oh, we'll borrow you $500,000. So what's your credentials? Yeah. Oh, okay. You've been unemployed. Let's give this man $500,000. So like, I am, and that's where the price rises are coming from, right? When you start flooding the system with money, what's going to happen? Prices are going to go up, because it's actually, believe it or not, a lot of the inflation doesn't come from just the fact that governments have quantitative easing. It comes from the fact that those are then realized in the form of a loan. And especially if that loan is realized for consumption and asset purchases and not productivity, then that's where you'll get inflation. And there's 3 types of mortgages that happen. So, or 3 types of loans. And that's the third one, the productivity loan. That is what contributes to a productive economy, because someone is then borrowing money and then they're producing something that wouldn't be produced otherwise if they hadn't have got that loan. But from everyone I ask, everyone I know, no one has a business loan right now. And that's scary. That's a scary thing. When everyone I ask, most people have a home loan. I mean, pretty much everyone's got a home loan or a consumption loan, or they've refinanced their mortgage to go consume things. And so that can only really lead to higher prices. And so when people say, okay, is inflation going to happen? I believe it will happen. And so I've been warning my viewers, I've been warning everyone I know, just be careful, look for the early warning signs. But I believe the early warning signs are already here. So that's sort of like the scariest thing to look at. So yeah, I mean, it's all like, at the end of the day, we'll find out like I said, in the previous video yesterday, I think we'll find out very soon in the next 3 to 6 months, we'll have a very broader look at what is going on, and then we'll be able to come back and evaluate whether my cause for concern was worth it or not. But the problem is, if you in hindsight, it's like, in hindsight, right? If you bought product X and you look back in hindsight and it's worth nothing now, you can't really go back in time and say, oh, I wish I never bought that. Well, same with the graphics card, right? When the 3060 Ti first released, they were going in Australia. They were going for $700 Aussie dollars. I bought a couple of them. I actually bought 2 of them. So I was like, hey, that's a pretty good price. Had I known that the 3060 Ti would go up to $1,200 Australian, I would have bought the whole damn thing. I would have loaded the cart up. Yeah, I would have kept loading up the cart because that's what all the miners, that's what all the crypto miners were doing. And I could have just been like, nope, I'm going to be, just putting in gaming PCs, making a bit of profit. But I guess no one knew that. But now that's the hindsight. That's the problem with hindsight, is that you can't go back. You can only basically make decisions on what you've got. And the best thing is to make educated and informed decisions. So anyway, but yeah, like JB says in the chat, investing in yourself. It's exactly right. And that's why I say the best thing you can do is invest in yourself, educate yourself, make sure you educate yourself. That's the most important thing. And I will say right now, right at this very point in time, I think in Australia at least, and I probably, because I know teachers, I know a lot of different teachers at schools, the quality of education in Australia is going down. It has gone down, and it's going down. And that's the problem. We need to, and that's the thing, how do you then do that? Because you then start getting into debate of politics. But overall, the quality of education is going down in Australia, and that's a worry concern. I don't know about the guys in the US because I haven't been to a United States school before, but what about the quality of education in the United States? If you have, say for instance, if you were in your 20s 20 years ago and you've gone back to university, can you speak on behalf of the quality of education? Because I think the quality of education has gone down to a level where it's at an all-time low. And that does concern me, right? When people aren't getting educated, they're not making the right decision. They're not bettering society, or they're not bettering an economy. Anyhow, man, I think these live streams, you just go off on these tangents and you sort of talk about things that, I don't even know how we got here, but look, you guys are just sitting there listening, and I guess maybe it's a good conversation to have, but sooner or later, we need to have the conversation, Anyway, guys. But I like the fact that both of you guys are disciplined. You both eat healthy. You both exercise. That's one thing I keep laying into my viewers as well. I made a 3-video series on, that was a little bit a while ago, on health.
Healthy gamer.
And so, healthy gamer. Educate yourself, guys. The best thing about the internet is that you can get the best quality education for the price of your internet bill. And I think that is such a good thing, where you're free to choose the information out there, question things, learn, and just learn, keep learning, and then stay healthy. And I really want to drive that home with my viewers. So, wake up in the morning, drink a green tea, get a bit of sunlight into your body, vitamin D. These are things that I don't see. And this is the biggest thing that concerns me, is that you've got all these, especially this is my biggest jive with mainstream media, is that you've got the mainstream media and they don't push this home. They don't tell people, hey, these are the benefits of green tea. These are the benefits of having a healthy, and they need to drive this home to people. But of course, all they care about is ratings and views and
money.
ads. Yeah, money. Yeah. And it's like, well, if that's all you care about, then really it's in the long term, it's self-destructive to society. And so I think that we're at that turning point now where I think things have to change. And if they don't change for the better, and where that's a better society in general, and things needed to make a better society, like a better diet and in educating people on, and a better education and how to make people healthier in general, and trying to encourage that, then you're going to have a society that's just full of, I mean, for better lack of the word, full of shit. So literal and both metaphorical. So anyway, yeah. so that's one thing you don't want. So anyway, guys, I mean, we're going to get back to, are we witnessing the imminent creation of the Tech Yes channel? People have told us that they want an alternative channel. I would like to make an alternative channel.
One?
Yeah, maybe finance and health. I think they're the two. Yeah, they're the two. Yeah, you've got 3 things in life. This is how I break it down in life. There's 3 main things. You've got your health, wealth, and happiness. And I think the 2 contribute to the latter more important. Like, so if you've got your health and you've got your wealth, you're going to be pretty happy. I think if you've got those two. Now, of course, wealth is a very subjective thing. And I don't think, however, on the other hand, I don't think health is. So health is a very objective thing. Health is a very objective thing. You eat healthy, you exercise, you're going to remain healthy. As opposed to wealth, very subjective. So some people just might like to have enough money to get by. They might just enjoy, maybe for them, wealth is having friends and going out every weekend. So that's a very subjective thing, but I think those two together will lead to happiness, and that's the most important thing. So I think when those two erode around in society, then you're not going to have a happy society. So anyway, there we go. Deep learning. We don't need AI for this. Sorry, Nvidia, we don't need the deep learning AI or AMD or the Intel.
We need some names for Bryan's new channel.
Yeah, we need some names, guys. We need some names. So that's it. So there you go. Bang. Yep. Anyway, guys. Yeah, we've gone. How long is this? Like the chat is very. I like it. You guys are. I want some questions, and let's just anything change the subject because I'll keep going down this tangent.
Who's got some questions for Bryan?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the bottom line is though the main gist of Tech Yes City and the main audience that's around here, very open-minded people, and like I said, I haven't had I've had a few drive-by critics recently, but besides that, I haven't had many, like, there's the amount of hateful comments that have come in the last year, I could count them on a hand. And I think that's, at the end of the day, I think people know that, okay, my audience knows that, hey, I care about my audience, and they, you know, in turn, they care about me. So, and it's a good thing. We want to keep that dynamic going. So, we'll get on to some questions here. We've got double chat, so I'll put it chat. So, how good is an R9 Nano these days? R9 Nano is actually one of the better GPUs to get because of the 4GB frame buffer. You're going to get good value in them. And so 4GB and under, they're the VRAM cards you want to get. And basically, back to that Ethereum thing. As we saw before, people are mainly buying up GPUs for Ethereum mining. That's pretty much the granddaddy. You look at the top 10 cryptocurrencies below that come in terms of profitability. Not only is the profitability lower, but you've got a market cap of not even 1% versus Ethereum's at 100%. So yeah, basically an R9 Nano is one of the greatest cards to look out for today in terms of demand, in terms of price, because the demand's really only going to come from a gamer, as opposed to the other cards out there that go over 4GB of VRAM. The demand, even look at 1660 Super, people are going to be grabbing those, popping them on a mining bench to try and make profits. So R9 Nano, love it. I would go for it. Of course, make sure it's in good condition. Marco asks, can I send product to you for a vid? DesignsByIFR, that's for you, Corey.
For me?
Yeah, Marco.
Who wants to send what?
So Marco's a Zeus. Marco's like he's been hanging around for Tech Yes for ages, man. He's a good friend. I met him in Taiwan 2 years in a row. Yeah, he's a good friend. And he's actually he's been showing videos in Taiwan of all the GPU that are in stock in Taiwan.
Is this the bloke you go around with in Taiwan?
Yeah. That's him. Yeah. Okay. So he works for Azus Tour. He works for the NAS company Azus Tour. And so he loves the Azus Tour. I think Azus Tour are great. I like their NAS has been just super easy to use. Yeah. Really good. Like if you want a NAS that's just set and forget, Azus Tour do a great job of that. But he so he's got the Taiwan. I'm guessing he probably wants to send you a NAS. Yeah, I can read Marco between the lines. Marco wants to send you a NAS, and he wants you to tell your viewers how amazing the Azus Tour NAS is. Yeah, but we've got the thing with Taiwan, the GPU situation there. If we look at Taiwan, they've implemented some good rules. So you look at Marco's channel, there's GPUs in stock. You've got RTX 3080s, you've got and they're coming in at good prices. I think when I checked the prices converted to Australian dollars, an RTX 3080 in Taiwan was about, I think it was $1,300, which is a great price for RTX 3080s here are going for $2,000.
After the GPUs over.
Yeah. But the thing is, you have to buy it with a whole PC. So you can't have these guys come in and buy 10 of them at a time and put them on a mining bench because the stores just simply won't sell them. So there's that. I like that rule. That was one of the smartest rules implemented that Taiwan did properly. Another thing is too is that I think the culture in Taiwan, and I'd probably be speaking on behalf of Japan, but I know there'd be a lot of foreigners in Japan who would be just buying up the GPUs if they're cheap enough. The Asian cultures are very conservative. So they'll look at, okay, you can make money on mining, but do I need to make money on mining? And I'm guessing a lot of Taiwanese would probably say, nah, don't really care too much for it. Life's good. And so there's, but if we go to, for instance, Australia, or you go to US or UK, profitability, yo, sign me up. Where can I get profits? Easy profits, yeah, bang. And then you get this swarm of people. I got to get that money, got to get that bread, man. And so it's just a flood of people. So I think Taiwan's culture also promotes the current lower prices of GPUs as opposed to the US and the UK and Australia. So we've got Kami on who asks, retailers holding back stock to inflate price. That story, no, they're not. The retailers will flog it off for whatever they can get for it. That's the real news there. It's not the retailers too. Like I know for Australia, I know quite a few retailers in Australia. The problem is the middlemen and the distributors. And I know this for a fact. And I've been asking, for instance, I've been in talks with ASRock. I told ASRock behind the scenes, I said, guys, is there a way you can start ship? So they're in the process of asking their distribution chains right now. So for instance, if I can buy 100 GPUs and sell them to people locally here a tad above MSRP. So just to cover my costs. Cool. Yeah, and so I'd like to start doing that for people in Australia where they can get GPUs at better prices. Because I just think, it's one thing to have crypto miners and scalpers already hurting the prices. It's another thing to have just complete, then the distributors just completely taking advantage of that and just, These are things that, and people are like, oh, this is the nature of it. This is just how things are nowadays. It's like, no, that's how things shouldn't be. That's just, there's a difference between having no competition and having competition. And so in ways, was an oligopoly sort of thing. You've got these three main distributors in Australia, all just lending way to each other for price fixing. And so that price fixing is not part of a capitalist society at all. Price fixing is crony capitalism. It shouldn't exist. And so that's one thing we're seeing right now. It's like, okay, how can we circumvent this? Well, we can have people in the community that want to do better for the community. So, yeah. Anyway, if quarantine, so we got a good question from Zeo-san. Hypothetically, if quarantine ended, do you think GPU availability will be affected? And if so, how? If quarantine ends, a lot of the problems will go away. If they end this quarantine, if they end quarantine, then yeah, things will get back to normal very quickly, and that's my opinion. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where there's so many differing opinions on this, and I just I mean it's I don't want to get flagged for conspiracy or anything like that. So I can't really talk too much on the subject. Yeah, but I mean, I've got my opinions on all this, and I think in ways I just think I'm going to raise one question. I'll ask an open-ended question. Before all this happened, there was deflationary pressures on all Western societies. There was actually deflationary pressures that were coming into play. And there was also, if you look at the repo rates in 2019, the repo rates went up to 10% or something like that. There was a problem with the liquidity in the system before this all happened. In the banking system, there was liquidity. There was problems with liquidity. So isn't it just I guess, an ironic thing that all this money printing and liquidity is getting pushed out into the system, and this virus has come along at the same time. So isn't that a funny what would you call it? Coincidence. That's all. Isn't it just an ironic coincidence that the two happen around the same time? That's all I'm going to say. And another thing as well is I believe the first case was in Australia. The first case was in January. So we had the first case here in January, yet we only went into lockdown in mid-March. So you kind of question that, and you're like, okay, we had 2 months of this stuff, and why was there not higher numbers in those 2 months? There are things that I do question and I want answers to, which I haven't been provided answers to. So I think, and that's what I'm telling everyone to question things and sort of have an open mind and see what's in front of you. So anyway, at the moment, we're all dealing with this chaos, especially if you're in the land of tech. I think it hits more home for people who are into PC tech and gaming, because we're seeing prices of things going ridiculously high. I think we're seeing all this in motion, as opposed to people who say just watch TV every day, go light up the barbecue on the weekend. I think they're not really noticing much of it at all, even though price of meat's going up too. But there's a lot of things that I like to discuss, and maybe I just want to keep discussing with my audience and having open conversations. But yeah, it is a bit concerning going forward, and I would like, I think, all governments to be much more transparent than they currently are, because all I'm getting fed on the news is reactions rather than education, which, I think from the news itself, I've never seen one big piece on how to get healthy, which is really concerning. Why is the news not telling all the Australian public, here's how you can get really healthy? You should be getting about 30 minutes of sun every day on your chest and back, because your chest and your back absorbs vitamin D a lot better than your arms and your legs do. And vitamin D is crucial for a healthy immune system. Why do they not tell people that on the news? Why do they not help the Australian public? And there's things that you sit back and you look at this and you're like, man, this is reality. But why don't we help our people out? Because that's what I'm seeing at the moment. I'm just like growing up from 1985 to 2020. I just think overall the standard of living is going down, and it concerns me. When the standard of living drops, all the people around you, their happiness drops, their health drops, their wealth drops as well. These are all things you don't want in society. So anyway, I got to get off this topic. It brings me down. Yeah, so that's anyway, our RAM price is going to increase. So basically we've seen a trend. We'll get back to DDR3 RAM, DDR3, DDR4 RAM. Prices, I think, are going to hopefully just stay the same right now. We have seen the prices of DDR3 memory go up. That's gone up about 50% in a year. That's DDR3. That's the old stuff if you want to buy that brand new. SSDs have stayed relatively the same. They've gone up a little bit. DDR4 has gone up a bit as well, but I haven't seen anything that points towards huge price increases, and I think that's due to GPU demand holding back the other industries. Now, if there is pressure from, say for instance, if there is pressure from say, for instance, other industries on the GPU business, they're like, look, man, no PCs are selling. CPUs aren't selling. RAM's not selling. SSDs aren't selling because the GPUs aren't selling. There may be pressure from the other industries to push Nvidia and AMD to put these mining limiters in so they can start selling graphics cards again. So hopefully, I don't think, as long as the GPU supply keeps going to crypto miners, then I think the other prices of DDR3 RAM and SSDs and things like that will be suppressed. I think they will be suppressed and they won't go too high because, yeah, I mean, if you're selling one DDR4 RAM stick at twice the price, but you're only selling 25% of what you're selling, then your company's at a loss. These companies have to pay back big loans. They have to have revenue. If they're not getting revenue, then they're going to go out of business, regardless of the nature of the economic conditions. So, anyway, yeah. So, all right, guys. Yeah, cool. Anyone? I've been chatting on this stream. I've been just chatting away. This is like honestly.
You gotta make your second channel, man.
This is one of the weirdest streams I've done. Like
finance podcast channel.
I think we could, yeah. Well, I'm starting to see what's going around me, and I just want the people in Australia to have better than what they got now. That's for sure. Yeah. And everyone I speak. I mean, I go out on the street, and everyone I speak to, man, it's all the same opinions. They're all the same opinions. People think the quality of life's gone down, and you have to talk about these things. I mean, sooner or later, it doesn't matter if I'm a tech channel or whatever. You have to talk about these things. You have to have open conversations about them because it's worrying people, man. We're all like, I'm worried about it. I think a lot of people are worried about it. You know, when the future's as uncertain as it is, people need to have reassurance, and they're not getting it at the moment from the powers to be. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So it's very concerning. So yeah, and I care about my viewers, man. They're the guys who stuck with me from some of the worst times in my life. You know, these viewers, the viewers out there, when I got divorced, man, they were all there for me. Had so many people helping me out behind the scenes. So yeah, I care about them. And so I want to, you know, if I can use my platform to help bring people's spirits up and say, hey, whatever's going through your head right now, you're not alone. If I can reassure people that and say, hey, we can just go on and pretend everything's the normal, everything's the same, when it's not. It's clearly not. And we want to have some reassurance or something, or at least a plan. Hey, have we been given a plan? No, there's no plan. There's nothing. It's just, you know, it's like all these issues just keep getting ignored. And it's like, well, we're watching all our quality of lives just go down the hill. So it's just very concerning what's going on now. So I'm very concerned. And so anyway, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah. So do you watch Russell Brand on YouTube? He's talking about the same problems you're talking about. Oh, okay, that's the guy who was married to Katy Perry, wasn't it? Russell Brand?
Yeah.
Okay, he's on YouTube. Is he making videos on YouTube? Wow. Okay, so he's talking about the same problems we're talking about here. Well, then he must be concerned.
That'd be interesting.
Well, that's interesting. He must be concerned about people's well-being in general, and that's exactly right. We should be at the end of the day. If society's not running properly, then what society you are living in? You know what I mean? So I think it's in your best, even if you are a selfish person, you are greedy, it's in your best interest in ways to be at least a little bit selfless. To be a little bit selfless, because that's going to better society. And then that in turn will better your local community, your area. And that's why I like it. I've actually been thinking of a series I want to do where I want to, instead, you know, I see all these fancy, for instance, Tech Source. I'll pull him up. He goes and does this setup makeover. You know, like he'll go to someone's house and give them a whole new setup, like just blinged out, you know, just crazy. I want to do like a budget version of that, you know, where I micro and put together something and give it away to someone. I think that would be really good. And, you know, because that in ways, I like giving away things locally because it's where I live. It's my community and I want to better it. So that's one thing I've been sort of working on. But anyway, guys, very concerning. I mean, I don't know how I go on this tangent. It's the end of the month. It's the weekend starting soon. We should all be happy. We should all be. You
got to get it all out before.
Yeah, you got to get it. You got to get it all out. So this should just be my own therapy on a live stream. So
I'm sure you and I will be on the phone chatting about it all again soon anyway.
yeah. So yeah, that's it. We'll have a chat anytime. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's what I mean. And that's what Robin Gray says. It's so depressing. It shouldn't be. No, we should cheer up. I've never been the type to you know, for me it's not depressing. Like for me it's not depressing. It's just things that we kind of have to talk about. I think you can go on and ignore it for so long. You can keep ignoring it, but sooner or later you're going to have to talk about it, man. So yeah, you know, I think it's good, but it's good that you boys come on. You're all awesome. And it's just, yeah, good stream.
Oh yeah.
So
that's it.
Yeah. All right, boys. So yeah, cheer up, Brian. Yeah, I'll cheer myself up. I'm already cheering up, fellas.
It needs to menu log.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, venting is healthy. So yeah, maybe this is the venting. Maybe this is the venting live stream. But you know, I just want to know. I want to let some of my viewers out there, if they've been having, you know, like if they've been worried in ways, and don't worry, you're not alone. That's all. So, you know, so that's the main point. So yeah, everyone's here for each other. And if we're all here as a community, then yeah, we can pick each other up in this weird 2021. So yeah. Anyway, fellas, hopefully, you got a tournament this weekend?
I don't. We're on off season, so we won't have one for a while. But we're just gonna be practicing. So yeah, it's back on.
It's relax a bit now, eh?
Yeah, I think June 18th is our next one. So not for a while.
Okay, so you're so basically you're gonna have a bit of pizza this weekend, a bit of, you know. Okay.
Yep. I might have to head out with the boys and celebrate.
Yeah, have some good times, man. Good times. Yeah, and Corey, what about you? What's the plan for the weekend?
Building more PCs, I think, to be honest.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be putting a 5950X in an A520 actually, because Gigabyte on their website, man, they were touting this A520 as 7 phases, man. They were like, look, this thing's ready to go.
Yes.
So I'm like, all
yeah.
right, I'll shove the 5950X on there and we'll see how hard she goes. So that's
Good.
yeah. So have a bit of fun. But yeah, I think I will probably branch out to another channel as well and start making a different channel with different topics, because I love discussing it. I think if we were more open about discussing things like this, and if I use the platform, I guess at the end of the day, I've never been shy to do vlogs and talk about things that have been on my mind. And things that concern me. I think it's a good thing. I think, and you should always be transparent with your viewers as well. Like, don't hide anything from them. I mean, it's okay to be, it's okay to show emotion and whatnot, and talk about things that do concern you. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. It was an awesome live stream, and I guess the Nvidia Reflex is hopefully that it helps you out in your tournament. So,
hopefully, let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully that everything goes well for you, man. I wish you all the best in the upcoming tournaments. And we'll hopefully we can meet at the PAX this year. We'll go to PAX and we'll meet up and
that'd be cool.
Have a brewski, and then Corey.
Absolutely.
Hopefully Corey's there as well. So
I'll be there.
Yeah, and we'll get some menu logs. So there you go.
That's it.
Yeah. So. All right, guys. Well, all the best, and thanks so much. We're going to close off this stream, and That was interesting. Thanks you all for tuning in. Any closing statements?
Oh, hang on. Before we all go,
come on, pitch them.
Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, guys, make sure you like. Even if inflation's 50%, guys, doesn't matter. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe. Even if the GPUs go up double the prices now, make sure you subscribe, hit that like, be positive. That's it. Let's be positive, guys.
And what about this one? If you didn't enjoy, hit that subscribe button twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Kevin Burnell, $5. Thanks, brother. Thanks for the 5. So awesome. All right, that was that was a good live stream. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back with another video very shortly. And also, thanks, boys, for. I guess at the start of the stream we were all chatting, and then it was just I took the solo.
For
support. So Conyo985 says auto-tune Bryan. So the trick to auto-tuning is to sound terrible and then you auto-tune it. Yeah, so like you have the tones deliberately in there. Like when I did that Eiffel 65 bit in the previous video, it was too much of heaven. Like you got the deliberate Yeah, and it literally makes it sound like what they did in the song. Like I was like, wow, that kind of sounds pretty similar. Like yeah, so we'll more auto tune. Okay, so for the A520 video that we'll drop, we will do a bit of auto tune there. So that's what it's like. 2021, it's about bringing auto tune back to the people. That's what's going to happen. So auto tune, we're going to be bringing that power back to the people. Get your auto tune on. I'll teach you guys if you want to auto tune for your viewers. I'll teach you how to do it. Okay. Yeah.
So I can say the like and subscribe.
Yes.
Auto tune.
And auto tune.
Hey, sure you like.
Yeah. Make sure you. I'll get that. All right. I'll do that on the next video.
I'll record my voice for you, and then you can just chuck it in the auto tune.
Okay, yeah, done. All right, you're on with the deal. So I hope everyone out there has an amazing weekend as well, and all the best, guys. And we've got this crack-a-lackin'. And yeah, I'm actually, and also the other channel, I'm waiting to see if I'm right about. So I've made some predictions, but if I'm right about those predictions, then you'll get the other channel. That's all. So there you go. I got to prove.
City.
That's it. Got to prove myself first. Always got to prove yourself. That's the main thing, right? If you just like in your Rainbow Six Siege, you got to prove yourself, man. People don't want to follow the guy who doesn't have the goods, doesn't have the experience.
Talk the talk.
So that's it. You got to walk the walk too. Exactly. So if I walk the walk in the next few months, then so be it. I'll make that other channel. It'll be coming. So all right, guys. Love you all. Love everyone out there. Thanks for tuning in, brothers, and we will catch you guys in your videos as well. Peace out for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Okay. Look at that. Straight up. Straight up, guys. We're now back to solo. Look at that. I was ready to crack it. I was ready to get crack-a-lackin'. We're back to solo now. Woo! Oh, man. How are we all doing before we get on out of here? We'll have a little one-to-one, little heart-to-heart here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And it's been awesome. So basically, Corey and Raine is also good with the main thing with the pro gaming. I was very curious about the pro gaming. So this was kind of like an off stream. I am always curious about the young guys coming up. I love the fact that the young guys are getting into pro gaming. I liked the especially the Raine's attitude. That was really good. I like to see a guy that's 19 years old with a head on him like that. That's amazing. And I think this is the kind of guys I want to support myself, and I want to watch and I want to back. Because as much as I like watching the gameplay, I want to watch the guy behind the camera. I want to know that he's awesome as well. So that's the main one. And also thanks for Corey. Corey's actually a really good friend of mine. We've become friends ever since we met up in PAX in 2019. We met up and we had dinner and we just got along like a house on fire. So that's the main thing, guys. Corey, I'm always happy to have him on chat. And if yeah, hope you guys will be back in the next live stream. We'll be going back to solely tech. It'll be awesome. We'll go back to Soul Tech and Talking Tech again. And we got $5 donation from Mike G. Bought a HD 7970 for 125 CAD. What do you think a good buy in today's market? I think it's so-so. 125 Canadian should be about. Sorry, we're meant to close this one off. No more donations. Okay, so I mean, I feel bad if I don't answer your question, but 100 CAD to AUD, so it should be about 100. Okay, about the same. Yeah, about the same in terms of value. So 125 in value. So I think it's okay. I mean, usually I like to pick them up for 100 Aussie dollars for a 7970. That's the main thing. So if you can get one for around $100, I think you overpaid a little bit. Considering again, it's under that 4 gigabytes, 3 gigabytes. It's a perfect sweet spot for value. You can get these for around $100 or less, at least where I'm at locally. So that's the one. So anyway, that's that one, guys. So thanks for the donation, brother. Anyway, guys, we got, how's the C9 situation? Did you get a pass yet? Oh, not yet, not yet. So there's another reason, you know, I want to go see my boy over in Japan. Also, you guys are requesting I get over to Japan and do some content there as well. So I'm applying. I'm trying to get an exemption to go over there to see my son. That's one thing that's on my mind. So, you know, my little boy, I want to go see him over in Japan and also do some parts hunts over there, see what the situation is. I guess a lot of people are, you know, yeah. Keep donating, peeps. Make it a marathon stream. I do want to get some lunch soon, but yeah, thanks, awesome guys. And so, do you think an E3 1240 V2 is good? Yeah, a very good CPU. I mean, it depends on what you define as good, right? If you think, for me, that would be good. I could play Dota 2. I could play StarCraft 2. I could play StarCraft 2. I could play CS:GO. I could play all the games that are popular games. I think, like, for me, I'm not, like, when it comes to gaming, I like the AAA titles, but I think some of the AAA titles have been a big letdown lately. I mean, look, when I looked at Cyberpunk, I enjoyed Cyberpunk, but the fact that they didn't optimize it for, like, hardware that could even run, like, even mediocre hardware was running this game so bad. So that was a big problem for me. So I was just like, okay, no, like, I'm not doing this, guys. So sorry, the chat as well is also busted away. So we can just wait up. The chat went on this window, but I gotta close this live stream off soon. But I could actually, like, make the chat come alive again during the live stream. That's pretty funny. So anyhow, guys. Oh, what? Okay, so like I go back to, I was about to close off the stream. You guys just keep the questions coming in. Does it support all-core boost? I don't know what motherboard to get. So it's a 3rd gen. A V2 should be a Z77, and it should be a 3rd gen Ivy Bridge. In terms of the boost is locked on the 3rd gen. I believe with the 4th gen Xeons, so the V3s, even though it's V3, it's 4th gen, if we were to compare it to i5 or i7. The V3s were able to get the full turbo unlock on the on particular boards with the BIOSes. So I have seen this firsthand, and I know it works, and you can get some very good value out of that. And so, do you think I should get a pre-built or custom PC for $500? Depends on the specs, depends on what's in it. Mainly look at the graphics card, of course. If you can get like even a GTX 1660, which I don't think will happen for $500, but even like a 1060 in there should be good. We've also got, what do you think of the 11400F? Love the 11400F. I think it's a good value CPU. Go get an H510. Absolutely beautiful. The cooler as well will do the job, even though they've Intel have downgraded the cooler, it'll still do the job. Is DeFi a bubble? I think at the moment, crypto's in a massive bubble. I would compare it to the likes of the dot-com boom. If you guys read the stories about the dot-com boom, go back and read those stories. Go back and read the mania surrounding the dot-com boom. Go back and read some of the companies that were getting pumped. It's nothing new. It's just history repeating itself. All hype. And a lot of these cryptocurrencies just don't have the backings to make it a function. I mean, a lot of these cryptocurrencies are just garbage, put it simple. And it was like some of these companies, actually a lot of these companies coming out in the dot-com boom, there was just companies that were just going for ridiculous valuations. People had to get in. They were like, oh, I've got to get this company. And then, of course, the music stopped. And it just went crashing down. The floor just came from out from underneath it. So do be very careful with any cryptocurrency right now. I do think Ethereum is the one cryptocurrency that has real use. It's a functional cryptocurrency. Now, whether that's overvalued, I'd say, yeah, sure. And they do have to make some improvements on the ETH to make it scale better. That's from the research. And look, I'm sitting on the sidelines with crypto. I'm watching it very carefully. There is a lot of merit to it. I just think there's a lot at the moment. It's pretty much very similar to the dot-com bubble right now. And of course, there's going to be companies like, if we look back at the dot-com boom, there's going to be your Microsofts, your Amazons, your cream of the crop's going to be in there somewhere. But of course, once that bubble bursts, then you'll start seeing which ones are still functioning properly and which ones people are getting behind. Because at the moment, it's just a speculative frenzy. You can see that with some of the 10x. People are just joking about it too. Hey man, 10x bagger, got a 10x bagger, and it's saying at the end of the day, that 10x bagger, you've had to take that money from someone else to get that 10x bagger. So just keep in mind that nothing is ever for free. There's no free lunch. So if you've got your 10x bagger, take your profits. Because and go buy some. I would honestly go buy something that has a buffer against real work. So anyway, we got a $2 donation. Mike G. Our market is really bad. R9 290 is 200. Damn. Okay, that is really bad right now. Bryan, do you see GPU prices going down? A 1660 Ti is going for 600. Last year it was 200. Yeah. So that's, yesterday's video we made, I talked about an alternative look at the GPU prices. I think if anything, when we look at Australia, if you look at Japan, you're going to have, going forward, America itself. If we look at the USA, there's going to be a very, I think there's going to be a bit of I'd say a disjoint happening between what's going on in America and other countries, because America has some extremely aggressive government printing programs going on. And so you might want to look at that and look at what's going on in terms of shipping containers and products coming in, the trade deficits. But things could get, in America, things could get worse. That's all. In terms of Australia, it relates to, again, all of it relates to how much money the governments are printing and who's getting that money. So if people are getting free money, and basically in the form of things like stimmy checks, the good old stimmy check, if you're getting the stimmy, then what are you spending it on? And I think in America, a lot of people are getting these stimmy checks, and who knows, there could be another stimmy check coming around the corner because they just want to keep pumping out money. And that will make GPU prices go up even more in America. So you've got to look at what's going on now. I'd say if we look at in terms of focusing on what's going on in an individual country, then you'll be able to make an informed decision. If we look at Taiwan, now, if you look at the Taiwan, another thing that I forgot to speak about before with Taiwan that was very interesting was their M1 and M2 money supplies. The Taiwanese government hasn't done anywhere near the amount of stimulus that in terms of proportion or GDP per capita that other countries have been doing, especially the US. So isn't it also another surprise, or isn't it also no surprise that GPU prices, the real prices of GPUs are subdued in Taiwan? That's an interesting observation too. So there you go. But yeah, so Marco's like tech yes Taiwan. So so anyway, it's let's say i7 900K. I'm done. 28 is super water cooled. 2025. Yeah, you probably like you'll see. Basically, what happens when we've got situations like this, innovation will stagnate as well. So that's why you've already seen up until when we really look at it, up until 2020. If we look at 2015 to 2020, really when we look at it, innovation in ways had stagnated a lot. We had massive growth of innovation from the 1950s all the way to 2010, I'd say. But then things started tapering off big time. Innovation in ways started tapering off. But just got the GTX 960 for 60 USD. Does that count as a good deal? Yeah, that's actually a pretty good deal. From what I've seen in the US, that would be a really good deal in your current environment. Always look for those cards. Again, 4 gigabytes of VRAM or under, and you will find a good deal. That's all, folks. Anyway, questions. Let's get on out of here. Have a good weekend, everyone. I thought I'd just talk about the 2 guests that came on and just how sort of if you're only here for the tech as well and not sort of the whole other thing, then do apologize for that. Yeah, I look forward to. But do let us know. Also, let us know. Hit the like button. Also, let us know in the comments. Do you enjoy these conversations? Again, I'm not claiming to have a crystal ball or anything like that, but I'm just starting to really just think for myself and starting to look at all these trends that are happening. And never forget, the trend is your friend. That's the most important thing. So why are Intel 6 gens so expensive? It's because a lot of the time, final question, 6 gen would be so expensive because, especially the i7, because people still want them, believe it or not. The i7s, people are like, oh, wow, I've got this i7 here, and I want to use it. I actually, in ways, the why is because people will see the i7 and they'll want to overpay for it. So that's why 6 gen would be so expensive, just because people are willing to overpay for it. Is it good value? Hell no. I think it's terrible value, the 6 gen CPUs and their prices right now. So do you think it's a good time to upgrade all PC parts except GPUs? I think it's a good time to have, especially if you're in the United States, I think it's a good time to get a lot of your PC built while prices are still cheap. And then if GPUs have a dip, get your GPU. That's all. Anyway, guys, hope that has answered all the questions, and I will catch you in the next tech video. We'll even get Dadman on the next live stream. Who knows? We'll even get Dadman on the next live stream. So also, I had to wear these headphones just because I had to hear the conversations without having it creep into the mic. And I only had one USB cable, so I couldn't use my virtuosos. Anyway, Q&A, baby. We're ending this live stream. I'll even throw out a US accent for you guys before I get on out of here. Basically, it's been a tough time in the last few months, and especially if you're in the market for a GPU, especially if you're in the market for a GPU, not the market, the market. And like someone's going to come on in and they're going to ask me another question on like Bryan. i3 10100 or a Ryzen 5 2600, and like, dude, straight up, man, you've got 6 cores versus 4 cores, but I would look at the other factors, like can you get the motherboard for cheap, like the H410 versus the B450. So it's like when you weigh all that in, which is going to be the overall cheaper platform. And I would say potentially they're going to they're going to work out roughly the same. So get whichever is cheapest in your area. In terms of performance, the 10100 will probably be better in the games, and then the Ryzen 5 2600 will do better when it comes to video editing. And that's just, you got to look at the market. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in another live stream very soon. Just remember, always watch the market. And GTX 1060 for $200, should I go for it? If you're in the US, then I actually would if you need a graphics card desperately, or you're doing some video editing. But yeah. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Love each and every one of you. Hope you enjoy these live streams. It will go down. We'll go down any tangent. I don't care. But I'll address the issues that nobody else is addressing because I don't care. Peace out for now. Bye.